Detroit is different. Detroit is different. I can feel it. Detroit is different.
So this community effort is something that's very unique and very dynamic. And 20 years is a hell of an accomplishment. You all know, this is my homie, my comrade, my brother, like big brother, Dr. Yusef Bunchy Shakur. But as I'm looking at the sisters that put into this, the nephews that put into this, the sons that put into this, the nieces that put into this. This is a family effort, but also a community effort that have been doing this for 20 years in 48208. And this is something that a lot of people definitely would not think be possible. But it's taken a commitment of something that started off from when Yusef was back, actually, as a Head Start teacher, giving back to community. So we're just going to have a short discussion, and then we're going to get into what everybody's here for. Y'all going to get y'all backpacks. So we're going to start that discussion with this. 20 years. 2 decades. Did you see this vision, especially when we're honoring now your mother and your nephew?
To be honest with you, no, I didn't see this vision or this destination. Obviously, the vision was there, and it required some work, but also undermining or underestimating the reputation of Zone 8. Those who are old enough to know what Zone 8 mean, there's the, man, I'm going to Zone 8. And, well, you better watch it. You might get robbed, shot, steal. So we was fighting against that all that time. And you see where we are today, we've been able to change that while that still exists, that's no longer the forefront. And we've done it, as you know. This is not about individual. This is not about a profit. This is about helping changing the perspective of lives that has been neglected and forgotten.
All right. And when you talk about lives neglected and forgotten, I mean, up the block, I'm going to say your mama house, because it is that, but
Yeah.
Ava Joe's house. And for anybody that ever had the privilege of meeting your mother in this neighborhood and knowing the open doors that were welcome to so many people in the community, whether that be for a meal, whether that be for a place just to have a conversation, whether that be for whatever other help could be connected to. A lot of this work, before it was even looked at, I guess, with the labels of how people label community organizing, has been right before your eyes for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at this, if anybody came to those very first backpack giveaways, your mom was out there cooking all types of food, pouring in all types of love. And this even carries on and continues. So as we even honored the Ava Joe name in the beginning, naming this, what was some of the first things that she was saying when you were starting year one?
Why the hell are you doing this? So, I mean, she has some very nice words. Oh, where my money at? Where my money at? Because you using my lot, Nick, bro. But you know, it was all love and fun. And I think at the end of the day, people want to know, was I committed? Why are you doing this? And what's the purpose? And 5 years, 10 years go by. They began, like, my mother would go buy the food. My mother would I ain't actually, it's just something that she did. And this is how it became a community or a family affair within the community, because my mother was recognized as a community mother. I think I have some level of credibility, but my mother had greater credibility because just how she moved. And I think we underestimate and forget the big mamas and the big daddies and fathers and grandmothers in our community, where they was the mayors on the block, where they was the city council, where they was able to negotiate and handle things because of integrity, because of respect. And those things through this process that we're trying to bring back.
All right. And now we get to the younger generation. honoring your nephew. I mean, when you think about it, over 20 years, it's some people that received a backpack at one point in time that now are bringing their kids to get a backpack, right?
Right.
And you see that full circle. And this is one of the few districts in the city of Detroit where so many children exist. So unlike a lot of districts, even in America, where they talk about like it's not a lot of young people, it's a lot of young people in 48208. So let's talk about that connection moving forward, watching the transitions of the young become older and them become parents themselves.
That's a hell of a dynamic when you didn't even think that you may live that far to experience and see that. But also understanding there's a current that's pulling them. And so our goal was to create another current to pull them different. So when we began to do this in the early stage, we're competing with that current where you got guys literally around the corner selling drugs. You got guys literally around the corner trying to rob folks, right? Where we giving out book bags and feeding people. And we won out to some degree where they started to put their dope away. They started to put their guns away and started coming over. Not because we preached to them, not because we yelled at them, because we loved on them. And also the respect of this is my community. And what they say, you can't do better if no one taught you how to do better. And this was teaching them, but made them feel good about themselves. I remember the first time we began to paint the sidewalk red, black, and green. Folks like, man, this feel like a red carpet event. It is a red carpet event. It's just happened to be in the neighborhood. Well, I remember the first time when we closed off the put the barricades in the bus, and one of my big homeboys like, man, I had never seen the bus go down 15th Street. Only time I seen that when the yellow tape, meaning somebody was shot or killed. So we were changing the mindset. Like, this what power looks like without killing someone. And this what the young people began to absorb to some degree, because unfortunately, there's a lot of things that go on throughout the city, but as you know, we're not necessarily always welcome. Here, you're welcome whether your pants sagging, whether you got a suit on, whether you talk slang or not. And this was the beauty of it when our homeboys and homegirls was now finding a place right in their neighborhood they can bring their kids to. And they can feel proud and say, this is where I grew up. It ain't bad. It ain't all bad here. This is what good looks like in our neighborhood.
So you talk about that good in the neighborhood. Another thing similar that I'm sure a lot of people say, this house, other properties, land, to buy the whole block, do this work everywhere in this neighborhood. I know you get that question often.
Right.
So what's your vision to something like that? And how are you responding?
My initial response, I ain't trying to be the pharaoh. I'm not trying to be the king. I saw a need, and I see myself as an ant amongst a colony trying to transform. I'm not running from leadership. I'm not running from initiative. But understanding in leadership, there has to be accountability. In leadership, there has to be respect. And unfortunately, our people have herd mentalities. And so it's easy to rally behind one individual, or it's easy for one individual to create a narrative as if they're the top dog. And we have to find the balance in that. If not, because again, if I buy all the property up and it's in my name, but we're saying community, but it's in my name, how's that community? Because when I get mad at y'all, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take it home and say, get off my goddamn property. Because it's in my name. But in that process, we all may not get along, but if we have to now what people talk about land trust. That's what power, because at the end of the day, I have an ego like anybody else's ego. So what's controlling my ego? Accountability. And we have to create the accountability by creating the protocols, but also it's a value system. It's a mindset. So when I say I'm not trying to buy the whole block, that is a value system to not put myself out there where I'm above my people. When I say that, I'm not running from not being a leader. That is the leader being willing to sacrifice and saying, I want to lead by us being collectively working together.
Mm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Quite cool. A neighbor in the area as well, and a leadership position as well. Something completely different. I think also the other elements of community start coming together. Looking at the store up the street, the court a couple blocks away. You've brought a lot more attention to this community where more people want to pour in. What's the way to engage in a community when you're not necessarily from a community, you think? How should you be present so that you're respectful of the culture, the people, the traditions, while adding something to it?
So I use where I work at, the Michigan Roundtable for Just Communities. At the time, when we began to build a partnership, I wasn't working for this. They came in as a convener. They came in to listen, to play whatever role that was necessary. Versus here it was a major nonprofit with a lot of history that could have came in and tried to, hey, this not right, this is not right, and we can take it over. But they came with the right value system since almost now 10, 15 years later. It's an equal partnership. So now my colleagues and coworkers, they don't need me to be in the neighborhood on the block. People in the neighborhood know them, where they built authentic relationships. I mean, this is white people, this is black people, et cetera. And I think that's where you don't have to be poor to help somebody, but you do got to give a damn. You got to be willing to sit with that person, but also check your privilege, check your mentality to be able to understand that this is not about you. And you have to be willing to know that their race and class matters in America. And it definitely matters in Detroit, because there's two Detroits, one white, one black, but separate, but not equal.
Mm. And this is one of those times where a lot of people are, for sure, seeing what that reality is. People talk about, everything that's changing in the city. Mm-hmm. This neighborhood itself is still blocks away from all the development that's happening with the Henry Ford, that's happening with Motown, that's happening, even connecting, I guess, other institutes of medicine and education and arts. What's the take when so many of those partners that are pouring in like blocks away, we don't see them present in something like this?
That's a great question. I think we have to get organized, and I think we have to recognize our own power. When we don't recognize our own power and harness that power, people begin to create narratives. And they put us against each other. They say, what do you want? And give you what you want. So as a result, they don't feel the need that they have to talk to me. But when they take that process of doing business, the community loses regardless. Whether you get some of I get something, because the whole community doesn't get nothing. And so the question is, how do we coexist? It don't mean we have to like each other. If Henry Ford building this over there, okay, you build that over. How do we build this over here too, where we're equal, have an equal say in our community? Because if you're over here and you up there and I'm down there, there's no equality there. There's no respect there. And you're always kind of looking down on me. And that's where I've always said, we're not opposed to community development. We're opposed to community development continue to be opposed on us. We can go and talk to anybody in the neighborhood. They'll tell you that they got a vision for their neighborhood. They got a vision for their block. But when you sitting there and you've been living here 20 and 30 years and your house falling apart, and then somebody moved next door and they got a brand new house, how do you think I'm going to feel? I'm going to feel mad. I'm going to feel angry. And that derails us from achieving a goal. And we have to stop looking at resources or success based upon money. Our resource and success is our determination, our grit, and that can produce the money that we need to make the type of transformation and change in our neighborhood.
Boom. And you often talk about value, mm-hmm, and how you place value on different things. As you talk about determination, grit, I'm always speaking about social capital and that collective coming together and pushing something forward, and then other resources gather around it. In reality, I think this house is one of those testaments.
Right.
Can you tell a little bit of a journey about the house itself and where it started, how it started, and how it's grown through a collective of energy and spirit?
So in my lifetime, the house went through a couple of iterations. As a child, there was a gentleman who used to live upstairs, was a numbers runner. Fast forwarded, it became a crack house. Upstairs, they sold crack. Downstairs, that's where they used crack. So it got burnt up a little bit, and then it went on the market. A white gentleman bought the house. He was half living in it, half fixing it up. And a lot of young homeboys, they were just harassing just because, again, he stuck out like a sore thumb. He was the only white person at that time that lived in the neighborhood. And so where we at now, he had experienced it. He had seen it. He had felt it, the annual backpack event. And so instead of leaving on a bad note, he came and approached me like, hey, I want to give you the house. I like what you're doing. I'm like, give me the house. At the time, I had never owned a house or anything of that nature. And so he put it in the business. And I was transitioning out of the urban network, the cyber cafe that we ran on Grand River McGraw. And so which we was forced to close. So I began to think like I could take that concept and put it in the house. So I named it the Mama Cool, who's here, as to pay homage to not only to her, but Black women in general. And when you look at our households, Black women has been the cornerstone of the Black household for decades. So that was part of the recognizing that. But continuing to learning from the previous institution, Urban Network, where people made that about me because of my story. And this is not about me as an individual. This is about a collective. So bringing nothing I've been able to do couldn't happen with like you, Quasi, the Michigan Roundtable, and other folks. Not to diminish my initiative, my vision, but ultimately you need a team to bring those things apart. And same thing, the Detroit is different house, right? That's a testament to you, your commitment, whatever role I can play to help. Like we build off ideas, and I think the ability to connect those have changed what Detroit looks like in our communities, because they've created a narrative because of the physicalness, a physical reality of our community. Like these are deserts, but Detroit is different. The house, that's not a desert. That is a jewel. The Mama Cool house, that is a jewel that presents pride. Like when you buy your equipment, people are like, you putting equipment in that house? Mm-hmm. You ain't not worried about nobody stealing it? Same thing here. I mean, they stealing it. It's no different than any other community, somebody breaking in. But no, I'm not going to operate out of fear. I'm going to operate on love. I'm going to operate on determination. And that love, that determination has won people over where they feel honored to protect this when somebody try to do something. Man, what you doing? That's Yusef House, man. They help us. So they police in our community because we serve them in the way that the actual police should do.
Mm. That's deep. That's deep. So as we get closer to that serving, we getting closer to that time, the backpacks are coming. All right. So now we just going into numbers, man. I remember one of those years, I swear I saw like a whole first floor full of backpacks.
Yeah.
If you had to guess in these 20 years, how many backpacks have you given away?
Oh, man, I didn't think it was right stuff. Man, we probably giving away about anywhere between 20 and 30,000 backpacks.
Oh, wow. Right now, let's go.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is the 20th year. This is the 20th consecutive year. So actually, we've done it longer than this. But consecutively, we've done it 20 years. And some years, we've done it 2 years, multiple times. But also, what we don't track as well, we donated to other folks, extra backpacks we have. We've actually sent backpacks to Baltimore. We sent backpacks to Indiana. Like we've contributed in other ways. I say this now because of your question, but this is not about us trying to take space. I think we've influenced other people to do what we do. And I believe any idea I have, I don't trademark it or I don't own it. It's owned by the people. If you borrow it, then all I ask you to do it right and make it better and serving the people.
Okay. All right. Now with that in closing, as somebody now, Dr. Yusef Bunchy Shakur, and school's been such a gateway, even starting from Head Start teacher. So now I'm assuming professor in some arc is going to be in that world. What's that relationship do you think that a lot of the young Black children in a community like this should have with education? How can that be that gateway for them?
Well, as you know, education means multiple things. So I think first and foremost, the education of our family, education of ourselves, and then the formal education, it helps us how to normalize and function in society. But unfortunately, the education that we get, it devalues who we are, where a lot of time our interest doesn't work on the best interest of us in our community. So I've been challenged, or people have told me, like, you could do this across 8 Mile. You can do this in Midtown. I absolutely could, and be very successful at it. Because of the education I have for my community and the interest of that, I decided to do it here. because of my love and my commitment to my community. And we need more of that type of education that rounds out the larger formal education that has to balance itself out. So I think, yeah, even when we think about when we started to now, the whole backpack thing has changed dramatically because of the violence and things of that nature, where some kids are not allowed to bring backpacks. Like, so most kids now are using backpacks when they're going over family members' house or just gradually carrying them. So they don't necessarily always have the same value as they once did. But more importantly, the backpacks was about helping that mother, where she didn't have to go spend $20, $30, $50 that time. She could have spent that on herself. And so in that backpack, there was love, it was care, it was concern, it was passion. But you think about the materials, and that's what the shift. I mean, ultimately, we want to build better relationship with schools and teachers. I think if we can do that, we can be a rallying to them, because ultimately teachers and schools are not set up to deal with social issues. That's why we have the level of violence that we have. So if I have social issues, it's going to prevent me to excel academically wise. And so it takes a holistic approach to be able to bridge that gap. But I mean, ultimately in any society, education is important. As you know, you say, you show me a value or important community, I'll show you a community that's educated.
Definitely. So with that, I'm gonna say, like I say, so much of this is powerful. Even seeing your nephew Sharon right there. Always in the fit, keeping it in the neighborhood. We pouring in, we keeping everything going. Definitely, if you check through the years, one of the big things you'll notice too is that it wasn't a lot of gray in that beard. Year one. He was looking more like your nephew.
Yes.
But we're gonna always loving building steps and building stones. Hopefully you're inspired. Anybody watching this to pour into their own communities. We love it. And I know this is going to keep moving and moving and moving and moving. So please connect with
We'll say one more thing before you go.
Yusef and many others. And then Yusef's going to give us some closing words.
Yeah. Jonathan, I just want to acknowledge that I am the executive director of the Michigan Roundtable for Just Communities. I'm the first Black and formerly incarcerated person of an 85-year-old organization. We are committed to this community. We are committed to Detroit, and we are committed to Michigan. And that commitment is to bring forth a racial and social justice idea through a lens of building a just and beloved community. What is a just and beloved community? That sounds very abstract. What you're experiencing right now is a just and beloved community. What you're experiencing right now is a just and beloved community. The people from all walks of life, all different experiences. There's no violence. There's no mean mugging. But they say we can't do this. They say we can't, particularly in a neighborhood like this. They say we're violent, we're savages. We're counting the narrative. It's what one of my big homeboys told me once. We just like that dying flower. And all we need is a little water. And this is what the backpack has been for 20 years, that little water. Pouring on us. And as that water poured, the more, come here, boy. You see people coming alive. And this is what I represent my community. You want to say something?
Hilarious.
So, as we close on this, so how many your first time being here? Just raise your hand. All right, not too many. All right. So those who are familiar with the process. Thank you.
Detroit is different.